Is AI revolutionizing this industry?
Those developers were telling me these new technologies and AI are enabling them to change their lives.
What is Google's vision about Indian software developers?
At Google, our vision is how can we empower all Indian developers to become AI developers?
What's the best way to showcase their skill set?
Make a YouTube video. I check those things out.
So first of all, thanks for taking out time for this. And so I am Siddhant Goswami, and I am a co-founder and CTO of 100x Engineers. So we run an AI education company, and we are also building one of the largest AI builder community in Asia. I want to first of all understand a lot of announcements happen today, and it's just crazy overwhelming. So so wanted to understand from your perspective, what are the things which we can look at, which can or which might change the way we develop software?
Well, I love this question. But before I get into it, I just want to thank you. I really appreciate the chance to join you for this conversation. You mentioned a key point of changes to software development. And, that's something that we are thinking a lot about at Google. And it's one of the key motivations for the work that we're doing and the products and announcements that we're making. If you think back, not that long ago, we really were thinking about AI in the context of building models and really a specialized field for very few people, right? And now AI is accessible to everyone, and that includes developers. And it's driving a shift where all developers are becoming AI developers.
Right.
And so what does that really mean, right? Well, does it take away coding? Does it take away software development? No. It actually adds more complexity to the software development lifecycle because I still need to code, I still need to test, I need to make sure there's security built in, I need to deploy, but there's more things I need now, right? And so, for example, if I'm building an application that has AI models integrated, I need to make sure that that application is behaving like it should, right? Is non-deterministic behavior. Also, I want to be able to look at AI safety. So today we announced, Check's AI safety service. And this is a service to enable evaluation and monitoring of the performance and behavior of AI models in your application. That can be a really tedious and heavy lift for developers who are not that familiar with AI models, but we're making that easy. We're doing that heavy lifting so that developers can focus on what they love, like coding.
Right. I think that's a very good answer, first of all. And I think this is a question which I wanted to ask you for a long time, because we are looking at these AI advancements. And the question is AI revolutionizing this industry, or is it just an evolution of software development?
Yeah, I definitely believe that AI is revolutionizing the industry. And part of why I believe that is I think about my own experience and how I became a developer, right? When I became a developer, I had to, read lots of documentation. I was grateful through an internship. I was able to get access to infrastructure to test and deploy web pages. But guess what? Now, the way that's, and it was actually if you think about it, fewer platforms. I was creating web pages in the browser, desktop access. Now there's so many more devices, right? There's mobile devices and there are all kinds of form factors, embedded, in dash, on TV screens, right? And so now developers have to build for so many more devices. The second thing is not just what they build, but how they build. Because if I'm building software that has, the traditional components, APIs, databases, UIs, backends, but new components like prompts, models, retrieval augmented generation, I have to do a lot more, right? And so it's revolutionizing software development because now developers can take advantage of getting an assistant within their workflow.
Right.
It can help them either with coding. It can help with taking away the mundane boilerplate coding work. So you can focus on the more creative problems, and that's what I hear from developers. They're like, I want to do the fun stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Same.
And so, okay, all right. And so that's super important, but also I think it's revolutionizing it because many more people can do development.
Yeah.
And I think that creates opportunities. You know, I talked to some developers. For example, recently I was with some Flutter developers, and Flutter is a framework for building beautiful applications that run on any platform with native performance. Well, guess what? Those developers were telling me how these new technologies and AI are enabling them to change their lives. It's giving them opportunities for new careers, opportunities to build businesses. And I also heard that this week. You know, we kicked off our third cohort of our AI First Accelerator program. It's a 3-month equity-free program that gives startup founders access to mentoring, infrastructure, access to our models, and giving them that so they can create amazing new applications that transform the world, right? And they tell us this is truly revolutionizing how they build those products.
Oh, that's really lovely, because like I think we are doing something similar to that also. We are also like helping other entrepreneurs to start building products in AI. So I like share very similar goals. I think, and I checked your profile, right? You also does angel investing. So how does your experience look like there? And if you have to basically give me advice as a student of yours, like which industries are taking the huge disruption through this generative AI wave?
Yeah. Well, thank you for the question. First of all, I feel it's just so amazing to see all of the ideas that, entrepreneurs have and startup founders have. And I think that what's interesting is you think about like 10, 15 years ago, you pretty much had to cook your food. You weren't going to get it delivered over an app, right? Or 10, 15 years ago, you had to book a hotel and contact them, or maybe go on a website to pick a hotel. Now I can find a room in somebody's home and be able to stay there and use an app. And so just like we've seen these new kinds of ways of living and working, we're going to see startups creating the next generation of what applications and what services there are. And so I think as an angel investor, being able to hear about the kinds of things that entrepreneurs are building is a great opportunity to help support those efforts and to provide those resources. But one of the key things I hear from founders is, of course, funding.
Yeah.
But also is just, the advice, right? How do I scale my business? How do I figure out the way to do the right contracting? If I want to go to market in a different country, they have different laws and regulations. It's so complicated. And so how can we simplify that at Google is what we really think about in our accelerator programs for startups and the way that we run our community programs. We're not only providing tools, but knowledge, training, and mentoring as well.
Which sector are you personally interested in?
So you said you saw my background, so I think you know the answer to this. Healthcare. Healthcare is near and dear to me. So I have 4 kids. And my eldest son, he was the first of my children to have a number of health issues when he was born. It was hard as a mom, my first child, and trying to figure out how to get him help.
Yeah.
And he was suffering, and it just was heartbreaking. And so ever since then, became a passion for me where I think about children who are going through really challenging health issues, but also adults. You don't know where to turn. You don't know who can help you. And a lot of times there's not the right medicine available, or there's not even a clinical study that's suited for somebody like you. And so for me, that became a passion of how do I find not just cures, but what can we do to help ourselves? Like, what are the right diets? What are the right exercise? What kind of products and clothing and everything is really important. So that's a vertical that's important to me.
You spoke about the software, and we are here in Bangalore, and India is one of the software capital. We have second largest population of software engineers.
Yes.
I was reading the data, it's more than 5 million engineers right now. what is Google's vision about Indian software developers, and how can they contribute to the global AI strategy?
Yeah, it's a huge role that we believe Indian developers can play. And it's on multiple fronts. First of all, India has like the mobile first populations. It's amazing. Also, the linguistic diversity is like nowhere, like almost nowhere else, right? It's so amazing. And then also just this entrepreneurial drive for innovation and for creating. It's just so powerful. And so at Google, our vision is how can we empower all Indian developers to become AI developers, to be able to take advantage of all the latest models, the latest infrastructure, tools that allow Indian developers to build new tools and services for life here in India, but also for the world. For example, what we've been really just proud of is some of the things that startups are doing with Google's platforms and Google's AI. For example, we have partnered with, Karya to, they're a social enterprise and they do empowering people in rural communities to be able to annotate data and help create data sets. And, if you think about it, they actually, compensate the people that are working together on that platform. So multiples of the minimum wage, much higher than anywhere else. And that's so empowering.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're using Gemini, AI, and they're also using geospatial data to make that really amazing and unlocking that value. And so we see startups like that. Another one like today here at IO Connect in Bengaluru, there's Beethoven AI. So I don't know if you heard the music.
We are friends, by the way.
Yeah, okay, yeah, the music. And so that was used is actually tailored. So being able to use Gemini to be able to compose, personalized sounds and personalized scores. It's just so amazing what you can do with this technology.
Exactly. Thanks for that. One thing which I usually like get a lot of times, because when I teach about applied AI, so everybody asks me that how can they start learning about software development at today's age?
Well, how do you start learning about software development? One of the amazing things is that Google, we spend a lot of time supporting the community. And so we have something called the Google Developer Groups, which are community groups all around the world. And then we have, been able to support community groups right here in India. And as part of that, I've seen newcomers that are in totally different fields, doing totally different careers, switching into coding, into using technology. And so I think that whether you are in a different career, you're looking for new careers, or you're a young person and you want to start learning this technology, the great thing is we talked about open source. It's openly available. So, for example, we introduced our open family of models called Gemma at Google. And Gemma is so amazing because it's available to the community that they can then use this to start learning and building and trying things. And so having access to that as well as training around that, we think those are great opportunities to learn.
Well, I think that will be very helpful for anyone who is looking to like start their journey in the software development. Because as you mentioned, like now anyone can write code, like and that's also like leads me to another question, because we see this a lot now. Like a lot of people have this debate going on, like coding becoming obsolete, and like people are like building software with natural language. Like how can we basically look at the AI advancements, and how can we also teach this thing that okay, what are the fundamental principles out there? So what do you usually like use in terms of like teaching your engineers or community developers?
Yeah, well, first of all, we don't think coding is going away. Because if you want to build something that works for millions of people, which I think Indian developers and startups certainly do, then you need to be able to know the algorithms. You need to understand how things are built and how they're actually working. And we're really supportive of that. I don't think that's going away. But guess what? Some code is not going to be something you have to do manually. And that's what's great with having Gemini integrated across all of our development tools. So for example, Gemini in Android Studio or Gemini in Project IDX, Gemini in Firebase. It's helping developers with some of those really annoying tasks, things that you don't probably want to have to do manually. You can get help with those things. So you can focus your time on doing the more interesting, creative problem solving and really investing in that. So that's one. Two, in terms of learning and how, what I really want to, how I think about learning and supporting engineers in my team, we actually just completed a week-long hackathon.
Oh, wow.
In our organization. It's called Dev Explore. And it was amazing. We had so many different project teams. There were like 43 different projects that people did hacks.
Wow.
And we said, really, it's all about learning. And so they were able to use Gemini and Gemma, and also trying to use our tools or coming up with something new. But it was all about how do you start learning? And I think hackathons, opportunities to just build something and see what happens is a great way to encourage engineers to learn.
That's a great answer again. But one follow-up question on that is, now say somebody will take these advice and will basically join the Google Developer Program and learn everything. What's the best way to showcase their skill set and whatever they have learned, so that they can get attention of you and maybe you can check their work out?
Yeah. Well, make a YouTube video. Because I check those things out. Okay. But I think also one of the neat things about Project IDX, our web-based, cloud-based development environment workspace, is that you can access it from anywhere. You can spin up a workspace. The other cool thing is that it comes with a whole bunch of templates. So even today, we introduced 14 new templates, which basically help you get started with different languages, like Go or Python. Helps you, you can use .NET. Helps you get started with different frameworks like Flutter. And then we have an experimental template for React Native. And then also we have entire end-to-end solution templates as well, so that you can get into Gemini and learn how to build these agents and use things like Firebase GenKit and Data Connect. And so I think that's a great place to work for developers who want to build something that shines, that's cool. And then being able to promote that in the community. I would say definitely join developer groups. It's such a supportive group. And people promote each other's projects and each other's ideas. And I promote them too. So those are some of my suggestions.
Oh, wow. That's lovely. One more thing, you mentioned about AI agents, right? And just to tell you, I am also working on a research paper on AI agents. I've been working from last 1 year now, and we are looking at different business use cases. And I was very surprised to see the project Oscar. Do you want to tell more about that, how that's gonna help maybe person like me who is working and learning about AI agents, and also teaching other people?
So, yeah. I'm really excited. Project Oscar, the team who builds the Go language, they came up with this idea because internally we were talking about how do we help people learn how to build agents? And that team with Russ Cox, Samir Ajmani, they said, hey, we need to build agents. If we're going to help people build agents, we need to build agents. And so, but they had a set of principles when they thought about what it meant to build an agent. And one of the principles was, how do you automate tasks that are a lot of toil? You want to get rid of that toil, but you don't want to get rid of code. You don't want to get rid of coding. That was one. There's a non-goal to take away the coding. Another principle was, how can you add value and help save time in the process? And so based on that, that's how Project Oscar was born. And the thinking was, okay, we can deploy it into the Go project, but you can imagine there are many other projects out there that if you can generalize this eventually, it could be applied to that and could help that. The other thing that we've been talking about with AI agents is this idea of autonomy and to what extent agents are autonomous and can take action
Right.
or need supervision before they can take action. And so with Project Oscar, and it's actually working right now in the Go repo, is really testing this idea of what kind of tasks do you delegate to an agent or what kind of tasks do you not delegate. And so we're early. This is an opportunity for us to learn, just like we think the whole community is learning.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see the results of your paper.
Yeah, same. I'm like happy to contribute to Oscar as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. I think just like closing on this last question here. So a lot of new updates I was listening to which came here, and you mentioned about your favorite sector being healthcare. So what are some important announcements today which happened, which somebody can learn and apply in your sector, say healthcare?
Yeah. Well, healthcare has a certain set of considerations that are really important, right? And so as AI is revolutionizing how everything is done, is really transforming entire industries, we think it's going to be really valuable and positive benefit for healthcare as well. But those considerations in healthcare, you have regulation, you have user privacy, the data is very sensitive, like personally identifiable information or PII. It needs to be secure. So with these considerations, you want to be able to leverage AI to create all of these new and cool applications in healthcare as well. But you also have to do it safely, right? And so something like Checks AI Safety is something we think is going to be extremely powerful to help industries that are heavily regulated, like healthcare, but also financial services and others, to be able to take advantage of this amazing technology, but also make sure that they're doing the right thing for the user and they're satisfying their compliance requirements for their local countries and the countries where they want to do business.
I love the AlphaFold 3, by the way. Like we're just checking that out, and it's great, I think. But yeah, thanks for taking out time for this, and lovely having a conversation with you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.